What's up guys, Andrew Baena here, and it's time for another FAQ video. You might have noticed I skipped last week. I've decided that I'm only going to be doing these bi-weekly instead of weekly. So I'm going to be doing it once or twice a week. No, that's not what bi-weekly means. I'm going to be doing it once every 2 weeks instead of every week. If you guys want to see them weekly still, I guess let me know, and I mean I can do that. I just figured it would be better to space them out a little bit. First and foremost, before we get to the questions, I want to remind you guys that I am releasing my first ever solo EP. It is titled Bury the Hatchet. This is what my wallpaper on my monitor has been for the past month or so. So that's been like a little teaser. I've hit it in the background. But the first song is officially out. It's called Bury the Hatchet. It's the title track, and you can go listen to that now on my channel. Please go do that. This EP is extremely personal to me, and it was very, very emotional to write because it's pretty much all about death and very depressing EP, but it was something that I needed to write to get a lot of, oh, hello email, emotions out of my system. So yeah, please go listen to that if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. And the last thing I want to say before we get onto the questions is, as always, I want to give the biggest thank you to my Patreon followers. Thank you guys so much for making these videos possible. If you are interested in getting your name on the screen for a shout out like these lovely people here, or if you just want to do a donation, or if you want the audio downloads, or if you want the audio stems for pretty much all my videos, go check out my Patreon. It's linked in the description below. And with all that said, this is the first question. Question number 1 comes from Levels Devils New, kind of like a Polyphia reference, I guess. He says, who did the album art for your Bury the Hatchet EP? Okay, so the person who did the album artwork is an artist by the name of Loud Sonic. I follow him on Instagram. I'm not sure if he's anywhere else, but yeah, he did this artwork. Basically, I contacted him with like a very rough idea of what I wanted. Essentially, I just told him the title of the EP was going to be Bury the Hatchet, and I told him to do whatever he wants, and he came back to me with 4 different sketch options. I went with this one, and then he ended up finishing it up. The first time I ever saw his artwork was by a band called Loathe, and they had like their entire album called The Cold Sun, all done by Loud Sonic, and I was just mesmerized by that artwork. I thought it was awesome. So I'm really happy that I got to work with Loud Sonic on this. Loud Sonic also did the album artwork for the Galactic Pegasus song Death Script, which was the last single we released like almost a year ago now. But yeah, go check out Loud Sonic if you want to see more of his awesome artwork. Next question comes from Straight Spine. Favorite Australian bands? G'day from Perth, Australia. Thank you so much for tuning in all the way from Australia. I went to Australia back when I was like 17 years old, which was 10 years ago, which is crazy. But it was probably one of my favorite places I've ever been in my entire life, and I would love to go back there one day. My favorite Australian band is probably Northland. They're the one that immediately comes to mind when I think of Australian bands. But pretty much almost every single band from Australia is almost always good. I can't really think of any like bad Australian bands. Like, you know, there's Parkway Drive, there's Thyroid is Murder, there's Northland. I don't know, so much good music coming out of Australia all the time. But I would say that Northland is my personal favorite. Next question comes from Max Pizunka, and he says, what is your favorite 5153 modeler hardware? So like I've said in previous FAQs, most of the time when I'm doing anything to do with guitar tone, my kind of go-to sound is a 5150 type tone. Pretty much every hardware modeler does a replica of this pretty well at this point in time. I personally would recommend the Line 6 HX Stomp. I'm not affiliated with Line 6 at all, although Line 6, if you're watching, you know, that would be nice. But I recently picked up the HX Stomp because I used to have the Helix LT, and I had to sell it when I had to buy a car, and I missed it a lot. So I had a little bit of extra money, so I ended up buying the HX Stomp, which is essentially the same thing, but it's like this big. And that one has a 5150 model on it, which is called the PB Panama, I think. And that does a really good job, and I think those are around like $600 US or so, so not too terribly expensive. They're very small. You can have that and like a little power amp, and you can have your whole rig on a pedal board that's like this big, which is awesome. Next up comes from Paul King. What happened with your video quality? Last few of them looked kind of grayish in color. I don't want to be mean, just wondering. Maybe you're trying something different. I have always a problem with my color grading on my videos, constantly trying to figure out the best results. Peace. I think what happened was I took my camera with me to help out one of my friends with filming, and I think he changed some settings on my camera, and I just kind of like never bothered to change them back to whatever they used to be. Also because I don't know what they used to be. I'm not very advanced with camera stuff. I pretty much just point and shoot and hope for the best. As terrible as that sounds and as disappointing as that might be, I don't actually fully know what I'm doing. So he might have changed some settings on my camera that I just didn't really notice. But while we're on the topic, I don't really do that much intensive color correcting. I basically just use Adobe Premiere Pro and I click auto, and then I always use the color grading, which is called neutral. So it essentially just makes it look more natural. So I don't really do anything too crazy. So yeah, I don't know if that's useful at all, but that's pretty much what I'm doing. Next up comes from Alfonso Correa. And they say, apart from Dingwall, what other basses would you like to try if there is any? So as you guys all know, I am obsessed with my Dingwall. It's the only bass I have. It was my dream bass, still is. Love this boy, this green swirly boy. Never lets me down, looks so beautiful. But if I didn't have it and I wasn't affiliated with Dingwall, I guess the only other brand I can think of that I would want to try would probably just be Ernie Ball, because I also have a relationship with those guys, and you know, I've always really liked the classic Stingray style bass. Those always look good. The only thing I wish they did is I wish they did like a longer scale guitar, or bass guitar rather. I think they only do 34 and like maybe some 35s. And obviously, you know, when you're tuning low like I am, it's nice to have that low extra 37 inch on the low A in my case. So you know, that would be a little nice, but I think you can get away with drop A on a 35-inch scale bass pretty easily. So yeah, I'd probably just go with a Stingray, Ernie Ball Stingray, something like that. They've got some beautiful finishes as well. They got some nice sparkly greens I've seen in the past. Next question comes from Steal This Username. Will you do What If Djent 2019 tuned down? So I saw this comment and I've been considering it. I don't know if I want to do that or not. It would be pretty ridiculous. So obviously I'm sure most of you have seen Djent 2019 by now, which was hilarious. It's obviously by Stevie T and Jared Dines. They did an awesome job. And you know, they used their 18 and 20 string guitars. Although, I mean, I think I could technically do it because I'm pretty sure, even though they have like 18 or 20 strings or whatever, I think the low note only goes down to like maybe double drop A, which I've done before on a 9 string. So I mean, I guess I could just do that and then like pitch shift down even lower. So I don't know, maybe if you guys want to see Djent 2019 tuned down, I guess let me know. Next question comes from Jonathan Wilson. How do you feel about ESP guitars? I think ESP guitars are great personally. I have one over here that I've had since maybe like September or something like that. And I don't get to play this one too often because it's in drop F. And that's just like not a very common tuning that I use. But as you can see, god damn, that sparkle looks so good. So this is, what is this? The Stephen Carpenter, I never fucking pronounced that right. It's his signature model. So it's a 27-inch baritone 7-string, but I modded it a lot. I replaced the tuning pegs with Graphtec ratio tuners, and I replaced the 2 Fishman Fluence humbuckers, because it had like 2 directly beside each other, and I really don't like how that looks. Having a middle humbucker looks terrible in my opinion. So I got a new pickguard cut, and I replaced that bridge pickup with a Seymour Duncan Nazgul pickup, and this thing absolutely kills now. I wish more bands played in drop F so I can find more stuff to cover, because I would love to use this guitar more often, but at least it is absolutely stunning to look at. And yeah, ESP guitars are great. I've had tons of like LTDs. I've never had a real ESP, but I always have had like the 1000 series, like the EC1000 or, you know, MH1000 or this one, and they're always good. They never disappoint. So yeah, I think ESP guitars are great. Next question comes from Rinzwala Ralte. First proper extended range guitar. So the first ever extended range guitar I had was an Ibanez RG732, which you can actually see in a lot of my old YouTube videos. I've been doing YouTube for like 8 or 9 years now, and I used that guitar for a lot of those years. It was only in the past like 3 or 4 years, I think, when I started upgrading all my gear. Next question comes from CJ Muncie. What do you think about Gideon's new song? Gideon's new song is pretty crazy. I was honestly surprised when I heard it. I think they tuned down to like double drop A sharp, which is very surprising for a band like that. Like, I just did not see that coming. I've only heard the song once, but I was pretty down with it at the time. I'll have to listen to it a little bit more. I've never been like super into Gideon, but every once in a while one of their songs comes on shuffle on Spotify, and I'm always like, man, this band is actually sick, and I always forget about it for some reason. So I definitely clearly need to listen to the new album whenever that's out. because that new song called Bite was awesome. Next question comes from Sierra. Boy, what are your plans for the holidays, Christmas and New Year's? As of right now, I have no plans for the holidays. I probably won't end up really doing anything. I'll probably just stay here and visit my family and Serena's family because I'm going to NAM again in January, and that's probably where all my money is going to go, so I'm not really going to have any money to go traveling or on a vacation or anything like that. Sorry, Serena. Next question comes from Modern Mitch Luker. Peanut butter on pizza, yes or no? My initial reaction to this was, that is fucking disgusting, but then I remembered that there was a time when I had a Thai pizza, like Thai food inspired pizza, that for some reason came with like peanut butter drizzle on it. So I don't know if it was like real peanut butter, but it sounded like it was gonna be disgusting, and I gotta be honest with you guys, peanut butter on pizza is actually pretty good if you have that type of pizza, like the Thai pizza. But yeah, if you had like pepperoni or some shit, it would be disgusting. So that's my answer to that. Poutine. Yep, poutine, yep. Next question comes from Reaper. Ever thought about doing reaction videos / live streams where you react to songs? I've never really gotten into the whole reaction video thing. There's a couple channels that I like who do it. Like, you know, Galactic Criminal has reacted to a ton of videos of mine, and I super appreciate that, and it's always really cool to see someone else react to your music, so I love that. But I don't really think that I have a personality to do reaction videos, because I don't think that I am a very expressive person, let's say. However, with that being said, at the end of every month, I am doing a live stream where I react to your guys' music, where you can basically submit your own music or whatever music you want, and I'll listen to it live on a live stream and you know, give you my thoughts on that. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned at the end of every month on my channel for that live stream, and that's about as close as I'm going to get to doing a reaction video, I'm pretty sure. Next question comes from Nivan Sharma. Hey Andrew, what made you want to start a YouTube channel? Well, like I said, I've been doing YouTube for a really long time, so initially when I started, it was just because I liked recording music and I just wanted a way to show people my music. Well, I guess it wasn't really my music. I was always just doing covers back in the day, and I still pretty much mostly do covers. I don't really know why. I've just always had a really strong interest in making videos. Like every time there was a video project in high school, I was super stoked. And I was always the one that was like, yo, let's do a video. Like, I'll do everything because I want to. You guys just have to like do all the paperwork and shit, but let me handle everything to do with the video. So none of my friends learned anything about videos because I always took it over because I wanted to do it. Yeah, I don't know. I've just always had an interest in videos and covers since a young age. I initially started out with like the whole Pop Goes Metal covers, which was because I was obsessed with the Punk Goes Pop albums back when I was in high school, and I basically wanted to make my own versions of that, and that's pretty much how my YouTube channel started. Although kind of ironically, no one really gives a shit about my pop covers anymore, which is super weird to me because that's what I used to be known for. Like, I just dropped a Post Malone metal cover and it only got like 3,000 views, which isn't terrible, but you know, that's very low for what I'm used to. Like, usually my videos get around like 10K. So it's weird that most of the pop covers now are just not really performing. So I guess that's not what my viewers want to see anymore, which is weird to me, again, because that's what I kind of cut my teeth on. But that's a whole other topic. Basically, what made me start YouTube was I wanted to show the world my weird pop metal covers, and that's what I did. Next question comes from 12-string bass boy. How many strings on a guitar do you think is too many, not counting chorused instruments like 12-string guitars? I think my limit is 9 strings. I had or have the 10-string guitar, and I've had that for like a year now, and I have not managed to write a single original song on that thing. It's just way too much, man. Like, I can't figure it out. The low G sharp is so fucking low. I don't know what to do with it. Like, I think having the 9-string with like the low C sharp is about as low as I go. And like, I've done a lot of stuff in double drop A, but even that's like pretty ridiculous in my opinion. Doing kind of like C sharp or double drop B is about as low as I would go usually. Well, it still sounds musical to me, and yeah, so 9-string I would say is my limit personally. Alright, and that's the last question of the day. Thank you guys so much for your question submissions. If you want your question answered in a future video, just leave it in the comment section below, or join my Discord server, which is linked in the description, to leave your questions there. That's pretty much all I have to say. Once again, if you have not heard the first song from my EP, Bury the Hatchet, go check it out now. It would mean a lot to me. I really hope you guys like the EP when it drops, and I hope you like the first single. I'll be back to you guys in 2 weeks time with some more Q&A video questions. Look forward to seeing you.